Steve Stouts, who's a hip hop mogul or hip hop figurehead, whatever you want to call him. This interview is kind of old. I think it's maybe a month or two old. And I listened to it a while back and I wanted to react to it and I just couldn't get around to it. But today I was like, you know what? Let me talk about something he said. Listen to how he described a young Kobe Bryant, because I want to say he was involved in trying to get Kobe signed. Somehow he got close to Kobe, and he spent some time with Kobe when he was young, like maybe his rookie season, maybe a little bit after his rookie season. But listen to how he talked about Kobe and what he witnessed.
And Kobe was we would in the morning get up. I got him to go to this local gym. He would shoot 1,000 shots. Then he had these tapes. It was Michael Jordan going left, Michael Jordan going right. So it was just the tapes were split of Jordan moving left, Jordan moving right, Jordan guarding people going left, Jordan guarding people going right. And he'd watch it for hours. And then we would go to the studio and record. That was his routine every single day. I learned a lot of discipline, the discipline from a young man. I thought I was pretty disciplined and doing my thing. And then I seen another level of it with him. Kobe was going to guard Allen Iverson that year. And he was very much respectful of Iverson's speed and all that. And he said, he wanted to get young guards from New York that could, do their thing. Crossover and all that. We got him. Went to this indoor gym. He lined 10 of them up. They came in from the 3-point line. He stood at the foul line. And they would come in like an assembly line, and he would guard them, try to strip them, take them to the hole, and then run back to the line before the next guy came. He ran that. He never got on offense. He ran that like an assembly line. Wow. He was just guarding. He was guarding guys 6 foot, fast as shit. They'd get past him, steal from him, block it, rub their shit against the backboard, come back, guard. And
so listen to what he said toward the end. First, he said that he would get up in the morning, and this is how detailed he was. And I'm pretty sure he's not the only player this detailed, but we're talking about Kobe. So this is how detailed he is. Like I said earlier, he watched Michael Jordan and seen that Michael Jordan was the best there was to study. He was the best player that he ever seen. He was technically sound. It's almost like a boxer that want to study Floyd Mayweather. You study Floyd Mayweather, you're gonna learn the real sweet science. You're going to learn defense. You're going to learn striking. You're going to learn so much, footwork, everything. I think Mayweather has got it down to a science, right? And that's what Kobe was looking at. I'm looking at a guy that's so technically sound. He's got to be the standard. He's got to be who I study. He said he was waking up in the morning and watching Michael Jordan. I don't know who he got in the film room to make these videos for him, but he was watching Michael Jordan on only going left. And then he'll put another video in and watch Michael Jordan only going right. Then he'll watch Michael Jordan guarding people going left. Watch Michael Jordan guarding people going right. Then he'll go to the gym and work out. He said he wanted to study Allen Iverson, and he knew he was going to have to guard him. He said that this man went and got some of the fastest point guards that the city had to offer, brought them in the gym, lined them up like an assembly line, and was on one end of the court sprinting down and stopping and playing defense on them and stopping them from getting to the hole, and just continues to do that. That's working on your cardio. That's me being tired and try to guard someone as quick as Allen Iverson. And he's doing this back to back to back to back. And he said while he's doing it, he's ripping the guys. He's blocking their shots. He's getting the best of them. It kind of reminds me of when they told me Kyrie Irving would play 1-on-3 after practice. He said that was one of his drills that he would do. He'll play 1-on-3, and sometimes most of the time he will beat the 3 people that was playing him. He's playing 1-on-3. That's unreal, right? That's Kobe Bryant. I want to learn how to guard Allen Iverson. And that's what I was saying earlier about the gap that was between him and Jordan. He wanted to fill that gap with hard work so he can close the gap. I want to close that gap, and I know it got to take a lot of film study and a lot of hard work for me to close that gap. he was concentrating on being as great a player as possible. And the way he did that was by, if I can equal Michael Jordan, then that means I would be the greatest. If I can equal Mike and get everything that Mike has in his repertoire on both ends of the floor, then I would be the best player that this league ever seen, just like Mike would be, and possibly better. So that was his thing. Then the second thing was, now when I get on the court with this arsenal, I want to win more than anything, and I'm gonna make it happen. And that's what he did for 5 rings. Totally different than what LeBron did when he seen his gap. He didn't close the gap as a player between him and Michael Jordan and him and Kobe. He didn't close that gap. He just got other players that can do what Kobe could do. He went and got Wade. He went and got Kyrie. And not only did he get Wade and Kyrie, he went and got an extra piece in Kevin Love and Chris Bosh. You know, so he's filling his gaps with players, not hard work to make his game as equal as theirs. So when you talk about this GOAT thing, you got to talk about who the best player is first. Then you talk about the winning. Those are the only 2 things that matter when you're talking about who's the better player, who's the greatest player, not stats, because no one was playing the stat game. Nowhere in that soundbite did it say that Kobe Bryant was studying Michael Jordan's stat book. He studied Michael Jordan's film. He did not study Michael Jordan's stat book. LeBron James obviously is studying the stat book. He knows how much he needs to score for the rest of his. He knew how much he needed to score and how long he needed to play to pass Kareem. That was a goal of his. Nobody else had that goal. Nobody else had a goal of, let me go get Kareem. Let me go past Kareem. Nobody had that goal. Here's another conversation of Brian Shaw describing Kobe Bryant.
Did Phil ever hold any, like, well, Michael would do this? Like, did he ever hold that over Kobe?
He never did that, and he never answered the question who he thought was better.
Yeah.
Publicly.
Yeah.
He did say later on that he gave Michael the edge over Kobe only because Michael had bigger hands.
Yeah.
And he could palm the ball off the dribble and do stuff that Kobe couldn't do. But even when he said that, then after that came out, Kobe, you saw every time in the locker room, Kobe had vice grips, and he was strengthening his hands so that he could try to get to a point where Kobe is. So he could get to where is Kobe? Where is he? That's all I gotta do. Yeah, it was like, I'm gonna strengthen my hands, and then all you saw him after Phil said that was trying to get to the point where he could palm the ball.
So this is him hearing Phil Jackson say that the difference between him and Mike was the hands. And Mike had those big hands and can grip the ball. So now Brian Shaw said all of a sudden Kobe Bryant is trying to strengthen his fingers with the grips because he wanted to be able to grip the ball like Mike. He was obsessed with studying everything that Mike did as a player so he could adopt it or make it better. So this comment from Soulmatic, Kobe was absolutely chasing Mike. Ron Artest spoke recently about that 6th championship. Second 3-peat meant so much to Kobe. Yes, it meant so much to him, but that's what I'm talking about. Making himself as a complete player and winning was what Mike and Kobe cared about. He wasn't chasing Mike's stats. You're talking about rings and winning. Of course, he was trying to get rings because that's the only reason why you play the game. You play the game for winning and rings. So yeah, I said that 5-10 minutes ago. The difference between Mike and Kobe and LeBron is that Mike and Kobe was only trying to make themselves the best player as possible and get as many rings as possible. They both said that out their own mouth. Only thing that matters is winning. The only thing that matters is rings. Michael Jordan said out his mouth, he said, if I wanted to chase Kareem's record, I wouldn't have retired the first time or the second time. I would have continued to play knowing that it's a shot at me getting that record. Mike would have got that record very easily if he wanted to get it. He said it wasn't about the record. It's not about stats for him. He's on record saying that. Kobe Bryant's on record saying that. So yes, you're not saying nothing that's earth shattering. Yes, Kobe wanted to get 6 rings, and he wanted to be better than Michael Jordan. He did that by making himself a complete player and trying to win as much as possible. Like I said, he didn't study Michael Jordan's stat book and say, "Oh man, that's what he is with his stats. Let me get that." No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. I seen Magic win 5. I seen Magic win 6. Kobe talking about dude. We saying the same thing. Kobe wanted to win. Kobe wanted to be a complete player. Dude, you know what? You must be young. I don't understand how that's not making sense to you. Yes, he wanted to win. Why are you saying it like that's gonna change anything that's been said? Today's stats are first skill, or first skill set is second, and winning is last. Yeah, stats are first for sure. Stats are first for a lot of people, especially the media, especially the fans. But there's still some players out there like Kawhi Leonard. There's really about winning. I think Tim Duncan was really about winning. I think Steph to a certain degree is really about winning. I think KD is really about winning. The only ones that's about that stat stuff is those guys who won't give up the point guard duty. You're the best player. You're going to get all the shots. You're going to get 30 shots a game. However, you still want to be the point guard. Why? Because not only you go get 30 points, you're going to get the 10 assists as well. Oh, that's great. 30 and 10, grab a couple of rebounds. I'm flirting with a triple-double. So Westbrook, Harden, Luka, LeBron, all those guys who won't give up the point guard duty, they're taking the point guard duty because it's good for their stats. They're stat racks instead of being gym racks. All right, so one last thing. Nick Saban even talked about Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. He said, I knew I could never be perfect, but I was always cutting the gap between where I was and perfect. And I knew I could never get there, but it didn't matter. I always wanted to be the best player. One of the players asked him, how did you score 60 points in the last game that you played? And he said, I worked 8 hours a day for 365 days a year so I could get through that season when I was 40 years old or however old he was. He said, they don't put that part on ESPN.
That's another example of someone saying, look, man, I talked to Kobe. He was always trying to make himself the best player, a complete player, a perfect player. He was always trying to do that. That's the goal. Every weakness I have, I'm going to make it a strength. I'm going to work on it, right? When you have a weakness, you don't go find a player that can fill that weakness for you. That's not what being a professional is all about, right? You're supposed to try to, you're playing 15, 20 years. You shouldn't have the same weakness you had 10 years ago, right? So that's what it's all about, man. And that's my thought process on it, man. I'm gonna open the phone lines up to see what y'all think. Let me see. Phone lines are open. At the time, Lenny Cook was playing for Long Island Panthers and Telfair was running with Juice All-Stars and Most Precious Blood Gym. I don't even know what you're trying to say. DC Slam, what's up?
Hey, man, y'all tripping tonight, man.
Oh, okay?
Yeah. All right, look, let me go. I'm going to go on the little rant. Just let me land this plane real quick.
All right. First, this call will be no longer than 2 minutes, number one. Number two, it's got to be about the topic. The topic is
it's all good. I got both of your topics. All right.
Okay.
I was trying to get with you on that Shaq thing.
Go ahead,
man.
You got time. Go ahead.
Time's not the same, fellas. Look, man, this basketball talk's supposed to be fun, right? I am truly getting tired of people just complaining about today's league, dog. It's kind of like this show started off great. Then I watched the comments, the insults, the personal stuff. Look, if you don't like LeBron, fine, cool, no problem. But if you can't just roll with today's standards, everything in life is different, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here for this show, dog, for good sports talk. I ain't here to argue with people all the time. This Jordan, Kobe, LeBron thing, dog, this is what's killing the league today. You know what I'm saying? And, it's just like you can't have your own opinion. You're not allowed to say who you like. Jordan ain't perfect. Jordan, and you could tell some people don't even watch basketball. Kobe Bryant is not all Michael Jordan. I wish people would stop saying that. If you watch any of his interviews or people talk about him, they'll tell you that. So I'm trying, where we going with this? Where we going with sports today and channels? Is this what we doing? We just arguing and debating Kobe, Jordan, and Mike like they the greatest thing since sliced bread. Basketball was here before them three dudes came here, man. I'm here for the sports. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to check out. I'm peace out, man. Great show.
All right, appreciate the call. I'm not here arguing with anybody. I'm here responding to things that former players and people around the league have said, right? So Shaquille O'Neal said something about the super teams. I reacted to it. We got some people like Brian Shaw and Steve Stauf saying things about Kobe Bryant, and I'm reacting to it. That's just what it is. Like if the kitchen is too hot and you feel like, oh man, every time I hear this, I gotta hear a breakdown on Kobe, Mike, or LeBron, then the kitchen's too hot for you. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you don't want. I mean, if the people in the comment section, DC Slim is saying things that you can't deal with, that's fine. But guess what? I read all these comments and I get to hear people say things about LeBron, Kobe. I get to hear people say things about me personally. I get to hear things about Luka. I got an opinion about Luka and Draymond, and you're not going to agree with everything that someone has an opinion about. You're not going to agree with it. But to say that sports talk is not going in the right direction because we're complaining about the product that's on the floor is not a good thing to say, because we're the consumers. Right. And if you go to a restaurant and consume food and the product is trash, you got the right to say the product is trash. Right. Well, we not only invest money, because there's a lot of people who buy tickets and a lot of people who pay for the sports channel and a lot of people who buy all types of jerseys. And then if you're not buying things, you invest in your time and watching the product. If it's trash, I don't want to waste my time watching the trash product. So yeah, I'm not going to complain about it, but I'm going to call out the BS. T-Ray, what's up?
What's up, bro? What's up? How you feeling, man?
I'm good.
Chilling, man. Yeah. DC, man, he needs to stop tripping, man, because you know what? If you can't sit out here and call a spade, then what is we doing here? You know what I'm saying? And he old enough to know better. You come from a time where sports wasn't about narrative. It was actually about the own things that you saw. The strategy. We knew who was better than who. People didn't duck fade. Case in point, I was gonna take my son's birthday was yesterday. I was gonna take him, take two of my boys and take them to the Bucks game tonight to go see the Lakers and the Bucks. So guess what? LeBron's sitting out again. Mr. Low Management. You know what I'm saying? I can't even spend money with these in this day and age because somebody's gonna sit out. Somebody's quote unquote hurt or whatever. They don't play back to backs. Like, come on, man. How can you come from an era when that wasn't happening to see it happening on a daily, weekly basis and not call it out, or you're not, you ain't appreciating the game. They don't appreciate the game because if they did, we wouldn't have these kind of discussions in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
that's why Kobe will always be revered because he was one of the last of a dying breed, and it ain't just in basketball. You can say that in football as well. We are in the most watered down era in terms of we got all these muscle bound athletic guys, but they don't have the heart and the intangibles that make a all time player. Aaron Donald, he's an exception. You can go and find exceptions to everything. But for every Aaron Donald, then we got a Trent Brown that's been stealing money. He beat the house. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, man, I play sports. I watch sports. I analyze positions. I know what this is about. And I know when you had dudes that was overachievers when I was coming up, but now we got like a Randall from the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? He was an overachiever, undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
James Harrison, undrafted.
Yeah.
Ben Wallace, undrafted. We had overachievers. Now we got a case of people that feel entitled because they're getting paid. They don't want to risk their brand. They don't want to risk getting injured. It's a joke. So if you can't call that out, then you might as well go sit and watch ESPN for 24 hours and let them slurp and twerk all these dudes.
And you know what? It's crazy because I don't even have a problem with people sitting out games. Now, I really don't. I don't have a problem with it. Now, I will say this. when you start comparing them to players who didn't sit out games in other eras, then I would bring it up and say, hey, you know, this is a harder, more respectable way to go about playing 82 games versus load managing. So I would have more respect for the player who got close to playing 82 games versus the guy who played 60, right? But I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing and it's bad for the sport, because it changed with the times, and it is what we are right now. These dudes are making 40, 50 mil, some of them on the low end making 20 mil a year, right? They're making so much money a year. They don't have the mentality to go out there and put their body at risk, but for entertainment, for a game. Like, I wouldn't go out there and tap dance for nobody on no bum ankle. You get what I'm saying? I wouldn't go. I seen singers cancel their shows for having strep throat or losing their voice and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you can't play, you can't play. Now, the reason why those dudes played back in the day through all those injuries, because they felt like they had to. They was building the sport up. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that was a mind frame, though. That was a reference point and it wasn't just the players. It was the coaches that held them to a standard. It was the front office of the teams that held them to a standard. It was the league offices that held these players to a standard. Where now we have players leagues. We have players. Teams.
I don't know if the league office was the reason why Michael Jordan played 82. If Michael Jordan wanted the lowest manage, he would have. He wanted to play 82 because he was geared toward letting everybody know that you can't beat me, and he wanted to prove that every single night. It's just a different mentality.
That was a mentality, but I'm saying you also had an older Stork that played 82 games, 7, 8, 9 years. You had a AC Green that played all the games he could possibly play. Yeah. I'm just saying it was a different mentality, and it was something that was promoted on teams. And players that dogged it, they got hounded the rest of their careers. I could tell you, like William Bedford. I could tell you players that was known dogs for Noy Benjamin. They was known dogs because they didn't play through certain injuries. It was always taught to me coming up, man. If you can run, you can play. Mm. You might not be at your best with it, as long as like if you got a bad wheel, you got a bad wheel. That's one thing. But like, man, you got a hand injury, man. Come on, man. Go out here and give your team what you can.
So look, I agree with you, but let me know if you understand where I'm coming from with it. And I agree with you 100%.
Oh, fully.
But hold on, let me just say this. I respect the mentality of playing the games and playing through something more than I respect not doing it. However, when I look, the only way that's significant to me is when I compare those two players. But now I'm looking at it, I don't want the players to feel like they're gladiators either. Right. I don't want them to feel like they're a piece of meat for the team owner and the organization and the NBA. And hey, man, you better play because we paying you. Like I don't want it to be connected to like a prize fighter or some slave or something like that. I don't want it. I don't want them to be $40 million slaves. So I like the fact that they have some say so. I like the fact that they got a little bit more control. I like that. Because but when they didn't have control, they were 40 million. They still are $40 million slaves, but it was more so even then. So I can't be mad at it now. But only thing that is significant about it is when I compare them with the players who did go through that, then it's showing me that those players were stronger and more mentally tough players. Period. So that's my thought with it.
But then you look at it on the flip side, when your jobs, whether you sick, whether you whatever, you gonna risk losing your job if you ain't there in a timely fashion, and it ain't for no $40-50 million. So me, the man in me is seeing it like, well, okay, man, you couldn't give your team nothing tonight. You couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, but hey, look, I'm worth $200 million. What does the mentality come from for me to go out there and risk something that's gonna affect me when I'm 60? Like, I'm taking years off my life. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't. You can't. No. I want you to think about NBA. NBA is not as tough as NFL, but think about NFL. Think about these dudes just taking themselves out because of CTE. Think about these dudes. Just think about that for a minute. Think about these dudes that go broke. Listen to a basketball player that's they got some age on them. Talk about how hard it is for them to get out of the bed in the morning after they. You get what I'm saying? Like. No, I'm not cool. I know they get paid a lot, but I'm not cool with them giving their body up to make billionaires more billions, right? And let the fans force them to go play through some stuff that they probably shouldn't be playing through. No, I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with that. So like I said, well, I will give the nod to the players who went through that and say that, hey, man, you get the crown for that. You're the tougher player. You're the more mentally tough player. And when I compare you with the this era now, I'm going to give the nod to these players who went through that. But I'm also not going to try to force these guys to play. Now, everything else I'm talking about is totally different. Now, when you on the floor and you're playing soft and you're not fighting over screens and you're not, all these things, that's more basketball oriented. And I can talk about that, and I can talk about this era being easier and softer and weaker, but I'm not going to talk about them taking time off when they hurt. I'm not. But
no. Yeah, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that because you're not gonna be. You can't. I can't judge your pain. You know what I'm saying? I can't say you should do this because that's not my body. I don't know the level of, the discomfort you're going through. But at the same time, people do pay. They do spend money to see these players play. I
don't care. I don't care what people spend. I'm sorry. No, seriously, I don't. If you spend your money to come see the Lakers play and LeBron's not there, then you still get to see the Lakers. Now, if you spend your money to go see LeBron play, then you gamble. Because you know what it is with LeBron. He's 39.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what I'm saying is I didn't have these problems back in the 80s and 90s when I was going to games, or the 2000s when I was going to games. That was never a thing. It wasn't like, oh man, when you bought that ticket, did it say Bulls versus Lakers, or did it say Jordan versus Magic? Well, I'm gonna tell you this: the ticket also didn't say low management possible, and they also wasn't making $40 million a year back then.
Hey, but I don't think that's part of the equation. My question is, did the ticket say Bulls versus Lakers or Magic versus Jordan? If it said Bulls versus Lakers and the Bulls showed up and the Lakers showed up, then you got your money's worth. Now, if the whole Bulls team don't get off the bus, then you got a legitimate great.
When I bought that ticket back in 90 some odd, I didn't buy that ticket to see Sadell Three. I bought that ticket to see Magic. I didn't buy that ticket to see, you know what I'm saying? So I get you, but at the same time, it's like, man, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's better to just sit at home and watch the game if that's what you're gonna do.
Well, that's probably what you should do. Then if you only bought the ticket for one player, then that's we call it a single point of failure. Like that's a single point of failure. That's like the president having the code to the button, and don't nobody in the world got it except him. What happens if the president get hurt or injured or God forbid something worse? You can't have a single point of failure in anything. So if the only reason why you was going to go watch that game was one guy, then that's already a bad thing, man. But I appreciate the call, man. I'm gonna open the phone lines up for somebody else.
All right, bro. Take it easy.
All right,
man.
thanks, T-Ray. All right, I'll take one more, maybe two more quick phone calls. Greg, what you got?
Hey, man, what's going on, Mel?
What's up?
Hey, I kind of agree with the last caller when you started talking about this load management. But to your point, I do see where you're coming from, where there needs to be some kind of balance when it comes down to, injuries versus being hurt. Because we Chicago fans over here, and I can only wish that Tom Thibodeau had load managed Derrick Rose when he was limping and kipping around, instead of playing them 40, 42 minutes a night.
Right.
And even before that, we all saw what happened with Grant Hill when he was on that bum ankle.
Yep.
And he wanted to tough it out, and that ruined 2 Hall of Fame careers. So, it's a fine line. But my only issue is like, why they got to do it like doing these marquee games, man? It's like, come on, man. They play Memphis tomorrow, man. Sit down on Memphis, man.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for LeBron's, I guess the man might be hurt for real. Like, I mean, he been dealing with an ankle. He said he got an ankle, and it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
You're right. But he been having that ankle injury since the All-Star break. That ain't stopping him from. I bet you if it was the in-season tournament trophy was that second half in-season tournament trophy was that they can't play. But anyway, no. So back to I love how you explain like roster constructions and super teams and how things were built back in the day, where it's like you had a bona fide superstar, a number 2 player, and then you had role players. But if you look at how all of those teams were constructed, it's like they all had sophisticated offenses. They had a good coach and a sophisticated offense, where there no one team that you name when you start talking about Denver, San Antonio, the Bulls, they all had an offense that wasn't dominated just by one person. Now, one person may have gotten the majority of the shots in the case of the Bulls, but like when you start talking about San Antonio, I remember when they played Miami, when they was that year after they beat them, man, that ball was moving so much. You ain't know who was going to shoot, who was going to score. Back cuts, screens, and the same thing with Denver. That's why they so hard to beat right now, because it's like, they got the 2-man game, but then if you overplay it, then you got Murray shooting wide open threes, and you got the role players, and then you got Aaron Gordon in the dunker spot going back door. So it's like, if you don't need a super team, you just need players to understand their role.
That's true. You need. I mean, definitely, if you want to contend, you gonna need that superstar. That's go put. I mean, but like you said, after that, a good co-star and good supporting role players is really all you need. Now you got to play defense and play good basketball. But the fastest way to being a contender without playing good basketball is to form a super team, and that's what LeBron was doing a lot. He was getting on these teams and they wanted to contend. The year he got there, he didn't have time to put some pieces around him to build. So he bought the pieces with him and they made drastic changes. And now you got this super team. And 95% of the time you get on the floor with 3 superstars in their prime, you're going to be having an advantage over everybody you're playing. All right. The only thing that's going to beat you is a team that got something close to it that just plays better basketball, and that's what San Antonio and Dallas did. But appreciate it, Greg, man. I got some other callers coming here. I'm gonna try to cipher through them, and so I can get to the next topic and end it. Caller from California, shut YouTube down, man. You live.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me? You got to cut YouTube off.
Damn, man. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I finally got a hold of you. This
What's up?
3 new member. Yeah. Hey, man. I'm looking at how things are in the league, and it's almost kind of like, you got the super teams for, trying to win the chip, and then the NBA, you got the star for the ticket sales, and it's like trying to navigate between the two, is kind of crazy. It's gotten to the point to where, like, I have to watch WNBA games just to see good fundamentals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's. Man, you see when you talk about work ethics and things, see, I guess the women, because they feel like they're women, so we have to work harder and compete harder.
you know, it shows when you're watching the games and stuff. You know, God forbid if they lower the rim a little bit so, you know, women can start dunking, then, you know, it might take over some things.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't make that no better. I like it the way it is with the females. I don't want to see them dunking. They dunks gonna be, you know, primitive anyway. So, you know what I mean?
but yeah, no, you know, I'm totally with you. See, you know what? I play music. I'm with a group we call Funk's Most Wanted, and then when you see our name on the bill, you know, it says Funk's Most Wanted, and the crowd comes out. But then, like, we have 3 guys up front that sing. And then sometimes, you know, it might be one of them that's sick or something, so they don't show up, and then we just go on without the 2. Right. So it don't say that, you know, it's Rulon, Stu, and Clay in concert. It says it's Funk's Most Wanted in concert.
Right.
So, you know, when you pay for the ticket, you pay, you know, hey, you just, you know, whatever happens. But, you know, it's just the joy of being there, being in the crowd. You know, I actually got a chance to meet LeBron when I went to a Laker game because I got a partner, season ticket holder, and he always treats me to 2 games a year. And we're like 8th row from the floor. And he was leaning up against the pole. I was like, yeah, let me get this shot, man. You know, and he was all cool and everything, you know, like that, which he's supposed to be because it's, you know, all about, you know, the fans.
Yeah, he'll dope dude. I ain't never heard nothing bad about him from nobody as a person, man. He's a dope dude, man. Real dope.
Yeah,
dude.
but like you said, you know, his navigation is different from you know, Kobe's and Mike, people like AI, you know, who's still to this day, you know, one of my favorites. You know, when I do my Mount Rushmore, you know, I try to do positions, and the only reason I don't have Jordan there is because I got Kobe. And if I didn't have Kobe, I would have Jordan there. But you only got 4 spots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I have Kobe, and then, you know, for my center, of course, I have Kareem.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know, I put it, and this is hard because I'm stuck between AI and Kyrie. You know, and I know Steph is the all-time shooter and everything, but you know, I'm either going Kyrie or you know, AI. So and with the load management thing, you know, I understand it. Basketball is different these days, and if they're legitimately hurt, I'm with it. You know, you don't want to injure your body and stuff, but then, you know, I've seen players where they ducked games because they didn't want to play against the other superstar on the team.
You think that's what LeBron doing?
Hey, I'm just saying, you know, I can't say that's what he is doing, but you know, hey, like you said, Kobe will line people up and then play them one-on-one to get better, you know, and then some people is like, you know, I'm gonna just work on my body so I can play longer.
Yeah.
You know, and it don't matter if I go up against this person or I don't go up against this person. Long as when I do go up against somebody, I'm looking good at it.
Yeah. Well, look, man, thanks for the call, man. I got one more call I got to get in before I go to the next topic.
All right. Appreciate the show. Right, and I'll be doing some super chats.
All right. Appreciate it, brother. Right. Thank you. Rolling, man. You calling me from new numbers and stuff like that, man. Getting sent straight to voicemail. What's up?
My bad, man. Yeah, this is my backup phone. My other phone is dead, so it's charging. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, it's a great topic. I'll try to be really fast. You know, so obviously, you know, I think all of us have MJ over both LeBron and Kobe Bryant, right? The only question is, so between MJ and Kobe is how big is that gap? That's the biggest question between MJ and Kobe. I think if you just talking about MJ, Kobe, and LeBron, I think most people will say, and I would agree, if you're just looking at just the stats, just the statistical empirical evidence, you would have it Michael Jordan number 1, LeBron number 2, Kobe number 3. But if you're taking into account other things that are not statistical, the intangibles. That's where many fans, many players especially, have Kobe ahead of LeBron, but still behind Michael Jordan. You know, if you're just looking at just stats and accolades, I think, you know, whether you're talking about longevity or not, MJ is number one, and then you would have just with the, if you're just talking about stats and accolades, then LeBron number two and Kobe would be number three. But if you're taking the other things into account, then Kobe gets the edge over LeBron as far as mental toughness, a clutch player, fundamentals especially. You know, that's where I think Kobe. But the thing is that that's a lot of that stuff we're doing is the eye test, and it's more opinion. It's hard for us to agree. Like what you might say is good handles, I might not say is good handles. What I might say is good, a good post player. You might say no, that's not really a good post player because we're both doing the eye test, but we see different things. So that's why I think we can't eliminate statistics. You know, I think a lot of people growing up hated math, and I think it plays out in sports. People still hate math, and but we can't get away from it because it's the only objective, like evidence that we have.
Yeah, that's not, but it's not even. So two things about the stats. It's not even math. They already did the math. The statisticians already did the math for us. We're just looking at it after the fact. Like, you know, if somebody put 2 + 2 on the board and someone else answer it and it's 4, and I show up and I see 4 on the board, I didn't do math. I just looked at it and said, oh, 4. Right. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at 40,000 points. We're not doing math. So we're not running from it because it's math. It's just that no one is playing to achieve that. If the name of the game is whoever have the most points at the end of their career, we go give them 10 rings, then maybe people will be going for points. But if no one is going to go get the most points and one guy is, and he go get the most points, how do we celebrate that? Like you get what I'm saying? Like if I run a totally separate race and you run a totally separate race and you win that race, how do you say you beat me if we didn't even run the same race? If I'm running a race of wins and complete player, and you're running a race of stats, we wasn't running the same race, so we can't compare it. Like I can't use that to say that one is better. But what I do know is that everyone is trying to get the rings. So it makes more sense for us to count rings and not count stats. Right.
Well, you're right. Most of the math has been done for us, but not all of it. For example, Chris Broussard is the one who comes up with LeBron has won one championship every 5 years, I believe, and Jordan's won one championship every 2.5 years. I don't think that's not a stat that all of us are keeping. And there's more. There's other things that people are looking at, and but not just one, because that's really big to me. I mean, that shows that Jordan has been twice as successful, or his rate of winning championship is twice that of LeBron James. I never did it for Kobe. I don't know what 5 out of 20. I think that's a 1/4, so that's 25%. So that's I think that's better. No, that's not actually well, I don't want to do math right now on the phone, but yeah, you're right. You know, a lot of the statistics math has already been done for us, but there's still some things where I know I probably shouldn't have said math, numbers. People run away from numbers. Like as soon as you start talking about averages and stuff like that, some people just buckle up and they say, you know, why are you bringing that in?
Because no one's playing for that. Everybody's playing for rings. Nobody's playing for stats.
I agree. Now, what I'm saying about numbers is that numbers and statistics are supposed to be a natural reflection of how good you are. You shouldn't be trying to get, like, I really honestly believe that Jordan wasn't trying to get 10 scoring titles. He was just that good at scoring, and it just came naturally. LeBron, he's obviously looking at, when they show the clip of him looking at the stat sheet in the middle of games, then he's obviously not playing like MJ and Kobe and other people are playing. So it's hard to tell. In that case, you could tell LeBron is playing for stats because we've seen images of him looking at the stat sheet in the middle of the game. And I've never seen Jordan do that, but just the way Jordan talks about the game, I think he just naturally was that good at scoring. He was naturally going to get the lead the league in scoring all of those years. So, you know, and I don't know. I kind of feel like when we had a conversation about Kobe, MJ, and Kyrie about who has better skills, you know, and I would just ask just to think about it this way: is somebody might say Kobe's better, somebody might say Kyrie's better, somebody might say MJ's better, but I would say, okay, you have to go. Those three players have to go out and prove who's better. And to me, the only way that proves it is what we see you do as far as the numbers. I mean, because like I said, you're going to say Kyrie, you might say Kyrie has handles. I say Kyrie has handles, but somebody in the chat might say, nah, because his turnovers. They might say Kobe, had a crossover, but his turnovers were kind of high. So I'm going to count that against him for his handles. Jordan didn't do the crossover, but his turnovers are very low. So I'm going to say that guy probably had handles because he took care of the ball. When it comes to Kyrie for a career, he's 23, 4, and 5. That's 4 rebounds. Kobe is 25, 5, and 4. So he had 4.7 assists per game, and Jordan was 36 and 5. So between all three of them, Jordan was the only one who averaged 5 or more for assists and rebounds. They all scored over 20 for points. Jordan was the only one who was 30 for points. So I got to take that. There's a knock on Kobe that Kobe didn't average. I mean, he was close. 4.7 assists per game was close, but he didn't average 5 assists per game or more.
Yeah, but you gotta ask yourself what that means though. Like we're talking about career averages, right? And we know for a fact that Kobe's career averages was heavily affected by his first 3 years of not playing.
Okay.
So when you take those stats from his first 3 years, it's going to be significantly low, right? So do we look at Kobe's 4 assists or 4 rebounds or 5 rebounds and say he's not a good rebounder? No, that's what the stats can't really give you an answer on, and that's when you have to watch him play and know that Kobe was an above average rebounder for his position for sure, and he was an above average passer for his position. So I'm not going to the statistics to tell me how good a player was at one thing or another. On top of that fact, that you got to ask yourself how they played the game. Did Kobe play the game at the point guard position where he was making all the passes, or was he off the ball the most? You get what I'm saying? So where's his assist going to come from if he always had a point guard? If he always had a point forward? He had Ron Harper, he had Van Exel, he had Fisher, he had Lamar Odom, he had Smush Park. He had so many people that ran the point for him, and then he played in the triangle. You're not going to accumulate a lot of assists like that. Now, if you're playing point guard, then guess what? You're probably going to get a lot of assists. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, or whoever plays point forward, LeBron James, Luka, whatever. You're going to get a lot of assists. So I can't look at the stats and say who's good at this and who's not, because I just have to go by the film. But
what about Kyrie averaged 4 rebounds per game for his career. You don't think that's an accurate assessment of his rebounding abilities?
Not as accurate as my eyes. See, when you have a trained eye, you can just go off your eyes.
Okay.
When you don't have a trained eye, you have to go by the stats. When you've played basketball under the whistle or on some type of organized play with competition that was a competitive league, you know what it feels like to do X, Y, and Z. I know how hard it is to play with a player who the offenses ran through him 100%, and I got to stand off in the corner. I know how that feels. I know how I need to get in the rhythm for my shots to fall, and it's real hard to get in the rhythm when I'm catching and shooting all the time. I know when I'm not getting the ball that much, how that affects me on defense mentally. You know, I might check out, I might not check. You get what I'm saying? I know how all that stuff happens. I know what playing the point guard position is like, and then coming down to help the rebound. And I know when Westbrook comes down and grabs rebounds when he was at OKC from the point guard position, I know that that he misses the opportunity for his big man to get that rebound and outlet pass to him as close to the half court line as possible. You get what I'm saying? So when my big man get the rebound and I go on that outlet and he's able to kick it out to me, that takes out 3 dribbles out of all that one pass takes away 3 dribbles. Right. And that's the fast break. But Westbrook going out and then snagging that rebound and then taking off running, that takes away that opportunity for that early offense, man. So all that stuff means stuff, and people don't, when they look at the stats and don't know what it took to get those stats and all, and the butterfly effect and all that stuff, you know, it's kind of hard to have that conversation with them.
Would you say that? But if it was just between trained eyes and non-trained eyes, I would agree with you. But the fact is, when it comes to training, there's all kinds of training. There's levels. So you and like I say, you might have a better trained eye than everybody in the chat. But then we sit you with Gilbert Arenas. All of a sudden, he might look at you as somebody that's not as trained as him. He'll say you're trained, but not as him. But then Gilbert Arenas sits with Kobe Bryant, and Kobe looks at Gilbert and says, no, you're trained, but you're not as trained as me. Then Michael Jordan will sit with Kobe and say, you are very trained, very, very trained, but you're still missing some things. And they're all learning from you. So that's why I feel like it's not reliable enough because it varies. And the numbers, they don't change. It's like, it's 5 today, it'll be 5 tomorrow. Like, you know,
yeah, but there's a reason why that number is there though. It's really a reason why that number is there, right? So, you know, and it takes a train out to know why that number is there, because looking at the numbers tells me one thing. I can look at all right. So if I want it to be as absolute as a number, right? 5 is always 5. If I want it to be absolute, then my conclusion from that absolute number has to be something absolute. Right. So if I look at the 5 rebounds versus 4 rebounds, the conclusion I draw is that you recorded more rebounds on average than player A recorded more rebounds on average than player B. That's the absolute answer you get from it. But what people are doing is saying 5 rebounds and 4 rebounds and saying he's a better rebounder than player B, which is not necessarily true because it's so many circumstances that go in why he got that 5. So if you look at it and make the statement, he rebounded on average more than he did because he got 5 and he got 4, then I would agree. That's what numbers are for. But you can't take that further step and say that also means that he's a better rebounder.
And I would say that it's hard. That means I don't know if we can ever say somebody's better than anybody because if we can't rely on the numbers and the other one is all varies depending on the person and how much training they have. Can we ever say that somebody's better than somebody definitively?
Sure you can. I can definitively say that Dennis Rodman is a better rebounder than Luka Doncic, but Luka Doncic averaged 10 rebounds. Someone might look at those numbers and say that Luka is as good a rebounder as Rodman. But when you watch the film, what does that tell you that answer? Do you think Luka is a good rebound? Do you think if it was up to Luka and Rodman to get the rebound, you taking Luka how many times out of 10?
0.
Right? But what if I told you they both averaged 10 rebounds?
I mean
what if I told what if I told you who's another? Hold on, let me you know what? Let's you can pull up the stats. And you can see what Luka is rebound. Let's go to NBA rebound leaders right now, right? For the season.
Luka, he's averaging like 8 rebounds because I know he's doing better than LeBron. So, but I don't know exactly the numbers. He's averaging 8 or more rebounds. But you can check and see what it says.
He's averaging 9 rebounds, right?
Oh, wow. For his career?
This season.
Oh,
but he might be close to that for his career because he's been flirting with a triple double since he got in the league. So
for his career, it's like 8. It's like 8.
It's probably 8. Yeah. But he's averaging 9. He's averaging 9 rebounds per game, right? I'm looking at let's see. I'm looking at LeBron James averaging 7 rebounds per game. Do you think Luka's a better rebounder than LeBron?
Not overall, but you're taking the 40-year-old LeBron versus.
Okay, let's go younger. Larry Marketing averaging 8 rebounds a game. Luka averages 9. Do you think Luka is a better rebounder than Larry Marketing?
I don't even know who that player is. Who's that?
He's the all-star that plays for Utah. He made all-star last year.
Oh, I haven't seen any.
The power forward that can shoot. I think he came out of Arizona. All right. What about 6'8" Paolo Banchero? He's only averaging 6.8 rebounds a game. Luka's averaging 9. Do you think Luka is a better rebounder than Paolo?
What position does he play?
Small forward, power forward. What about Zion Williamson? He's averaging 6 rebounds. Luka's averaging 9. Do you think Luka is a better rebounder than Zion?
That's strange that he's averaging less rebounds than them.
What about Jaren Jackson Jr. 6'11"? He's averaging 5.5 rebounds. You think Luka's a better rebounder than Jaren Jackson Jr.? I mean, the list goes on. Anthony Towns averaging 8 rebounds. Do you think Luka's a better rebounder than Anthony Towns? Pascal Siakam, 7 rebounds. Miles Bridges, 7.5 rebounds. Who's a better rebounder, Luka?
No, you can't. Well, the thing with Zion Williamson, because if I saw them both standing on outside, I would definitely look at them and say, okay, Zion Williamson is a better. It should be a better rebound, but I will also say he should average more. But like you say, it could be the situation of but what about people could say that is because Zion Williamson is not a disciplined
no, it's not. So that's where the trained eye comes at. I can tell you how Luka gets his rebounds. All right, we're in a league that shoots more jump shots and more threes in this league than at any other time. And we know that what comes from long jump shots and threes, long rebounds. So the rebounding battle is not happening inside the paint like the rebounds that Dennis Rodman was getting. If you go watch a Dennis Rodman rebound, he's fighting for those rebounds. When the last time you seen Luka fight for a rebound? So the rebounds are not happening inside the paint. You don't have to fight for them. You don't have to box out for them. You don't even have to jump for them most of the time. They're long rebounds, and whoever is the fastest man to get to the perimeter is probably gonna get that rebound. Well, why is Luka always on the perimeter? Because Luka's always guarding someone off the ball, and he's always been hit on defense, right? So one thing he's not doing is always contesting the shot from the guy who's shooting it, right? He's not the one contesting the shot on a jump shot. That's the least most favorable guy to get the rebound, the ones who's playing defense on the ball and contesting the shot. So he's not doing that because they're taking him off the ball because they don't want him to foul and they don't want him to give up a layup because his defense isn't that good. And he's not playing the post player, right? So where is he at? Somewhere off in the corner, just standing on a 9 shooter. And when the shot goes up, he don't even have to box out. All he got to do is take a couple of steps and just track where the ball is landing. So you get 8 of them a game, and you might get 2 rebounds. You might have to fight for. Now you got 10 rebounds. Does that make you a great rebounder? No.
But for every example that you have of when the numbers don't work, I have the same amount of examples of when the numbers do work. For example, you mentioned Dennis Rodman at first. So Luka's averaging 8 for his career. Dennis Rodman averaged 13 for his career. Now Luka's averaging 28 points per game for his career or something like that. And Dennis Rodman averaged 7 points per. So that right there, the numbers work out.
Yeah, but but listen, it's not hard I don't need the stats for me to know Luka's a better scorer than Rodman. All I gotta do is watch the game and be like, he's a better scorer than Rodman. I don't need not one stat. You can grab me somebody who averaged the exact same amount of points for their career as Rodman, and I could still look at him and say he's a better scorer than Rodman. Like, you don't need the stats for that because stats have too many circumstances going into it why they are there.
But you do know that obviously the stats are going to outlast all of our experiences, so that people 20, 30 years from now, all they're going to have is the stats. I mean, YouTube is nice, but we don't know if YouTube's going, but books and stuff are going to be around.
Well, I feel sorry for them. if all they're going to have is the stats. I feel bad for them.
Well, you should feel bad for us because a lot of us didn't see Bill Russell. All we had, and Will Chamberlain.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I wasn't supposed to see Bill Russell. If I was supposed to see Bill Russell, I would have been born in that time. I'm good with the players I've seen.
But we're gonna have an intelligent conversation about Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell. We can't ignore them. All we could do now, because we couldn't see them, right? All we could do is just go to the stats, right? I mean, we don't have to talk about Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain. It's better that we do talk about players that we have seen.
I got you rolling, but this and I say this so I can go to the next topic. But this is my point. It's good for people who need the stats. I'm not telling people not to use them if you need them. If you need training wheels, then use the training wheels. But for the guys who play ball and can look at the game and see and know what they see just from watching it, we can ride the bikes without training wheels. We can pop wheelies. Hey, we can even ride on the handlebars. We can do those things, but it's okay if you're on training wheels. I ride bike with my son when he was little, while he was on training wheels all the time. He don't need them now.
I agree with you said. There's no bikes for Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and that whole generation. You agree with that, right?
That's why I don't compare them too much to people that I've seen. I can if all I have is stats for Wilt Chamberlain, I didn't live through him. I didn't see him play his whole career, and I'm comparing him to someone who I have seen play their whole career. I can't fairly compare them the way I would want to, but I would take both of their stats and compare them because that's the only thing I got. To be fair to the guy that I don't have footage for, I won't use the footage for the other guy. I just use the paper, right? I just use the stats. So I do that. But if I have the footage, I lived through your career, and I had the stats. If I need them, then I can fairly compare a player, and I'm going to lean heavily on my eyes more than I am with the stats. I would use the stats as a supplement, though.
Okay, I got that. Okay, I agree with that. That's good. That sounds good. All right, Mel, thank you for taking my call.
All right, thanks, bro. Did that make sense though? Unpopular truth. Thanks for the super chat, bro. That was a bad take on load management. It probably was. I mean, but you know, y'all don't agree with everything I say. You know, we all say some things that we kind of agree with and don't agree with, and that's the good thing about this community that we building here with Man Down is that, you know, we can disagree and we can still have that good conversation, a good civil conversation. Where I mean, I don't have, like, we just had a conversation just now, me and Roland. We didn't agree on that. But we had the conversation and we got off the phone still cool as we were when we first started the conversation. It was respectful, and I appreciate that. Full Venom Jacket, $10 super chat. I appreciate that, big dog. AOH went over this BS recently. LeBron is a layup merchant, shoots 37% for his career outside of 3 feet. That's facts. Context matters. Scoring is up 15 points. And when LeBron came into the league, that's context as well. Yeah. When people say that his field goal percentage is 50% and Kobe's is 45%, and they use that to say he's a better shooter than Kobe, I think that's weird, especially when we know that Kobe was primarily a jump shooter. And when you look at jump shooters like Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton, that shot mostly jump shots, you know, 45% is not a bad percentage to have when you're shooting mostly jump shots, right? And also, we also know that LeBron, once you move him further from the paint, his percentages dip. He's shooting a high clip this year, 41% from 3, but that's year 21. It's about time you figure that 3-point shot out, right? You shoot 41%, awesome. And then also, scoring is up 15 points, so that means it's 15 points to be had out there. Who's probably going to get it? Your second over your first best player. So now when you look at 30 points in this era, it's more equivalent to 25 points in the 90s. 25 points is more equivalent to 20 points in the 90s. So the 20 points that Mike got with the Wizards is equivalent to getting 25 in this era with the 15 more points. So that's my thought on that, man. I appreciate the super chat.